After being introduced since basically the launch of the game, the Adeptus with the many extraordinary inventions, Cloud Retainer, finally makes an appearance in her mortal form, also known as Xianyun. Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Johnny and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. In today's video, we're gonna quickly review Xianyun's kit so you guys can get on out of here with a better understanding of how she works and start building your Xianyun. Just a little note, but when you pull for Cloud Retainer, she pronounces her name as Xianyun, but during the character quest, Xianyun. For simplicity's sake, we'll go with Xianyun since Paimon does as well. Now without any further ado, let's jump right into it. As one may have guessed with her affinity to the clouds, Xianyun is an animal catalyst user who specializes in a couple different roles, but will mainly be supporting the party that does plunging attacks. Her normal attack talent, Word of Wind and Flower, will perform up to 4 attacks that deal animal damage. For a charge attack by consuming a certain amount of stamina, Xianyun will launch a breeze bolt in a straight line dealing animal damage. While it does go in a straight line, something interesting to mention is that it will follow the ground, so if you use it on a high terrain without a flat surface, it will descend and vice versa. Lastly, for a plunging attack, she'll descend from mid-air and deal AoE animal damage upon impact. Pretty standard stuff. Her elemental skill, White Clouds at Dawn, will enter the cloud transmogrification state, which prevents her from taking fall damage and immediately uses Sky Ladder once. In this state, her plunging attack will be converted to Drift Cloud Wave, which deals AoE animal damage and ends the cloud transmogrification state. Drift Cloud Wave's damage is considered plunging attack damage, and each use of Sky Ladder will increase the damage in AoE. Sky Ladder can be used while in mid-air, and Xianyun will leap forward and deal animal damage to targets along her path. While Sky Ladder can be used mid-air, keep in mind her elemental skill cannot, because you need to enter the state first. This is to prevent players from doing massive air exploration, because you'd be able to glide and wait for a cooldown and basically leap almost infinitely, from Inazuma to Fontaine. Sky Ladder can be used up to 3 times during each cloud transmogrification state, and only one instance of Sky Ladder damage can be dealt to the same target, meaning you can't hit the same target twice with another Sky Ladder. If Sky Ladder isn't used in a short period of time, the cloud transmogrification state will be cancelled, and if Drift Cloud Wave isn't used as well, which is her new plunging attack, then the cooldown for her elemental skill will be reduced by 3 seconds. There might be a lot of names and terms piled into Xianyun's elemental skill, but basically, her elemental skill enters a new state, allowing her to leap forward up to 3 times and transform her into a crane to descend down onto her targets. That's the short version anyway. This elemental skill is honestly one of my favorites, just because of how fun it is to use. It's also a good ability for exploration too, since it does cover a lot of ground. The cooldown is 12 seconds, but it does start immediately upon the first cast of Sky Ladder, and with the 3 seconds decrease in cooldown, it's actually not that bad. Just make sure to let Xianyun land after each Sky Ladder for a further distance. If you want to go higher, then press the ability repeatedly. Her elemental burst, Stars Gather at Dusk, will deal AoE animal damage and heal the party based on Xianyun's attack, while also summoning the Star Wicker mechanism. Star Wicker will follow the active character and periodically heals the party some more, based on her attack. Additionally, it'll have 8 stacks of Adepto Assistance, which will increase the party's jump height while active. The jump height will be high enough to perform plunging attacks, and each time one is performed, 1 stack of Adepto Assistance will be consumed and deal AoE animal damage. Only 1 Star Wicker can exist at a time, and the duration is almost as long as another Adeptus we know. This is an extremely unique elemental burst because it allows any character to perform plunging attacks, and something that we've never seen yet, so it's really cool that Xianyun's introducing a new mechanic. On top of that, she's also healing the party while also providing some off-field damage when the character does a plunging attack. A jam-packed burst that does a lot of things. Her Ascension 1 passive talent, Gale Feather Pursuit, provides her kit with some utility because for each enemy hit by Drift Cloud Waves from White Clouds at Dawn, which is a converted plunging attack, attack from an elemental skill, the party will gain 1 stack of Storm Pinion for 20 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. This will increase plunging attacks crit rate by 4, 6, 8, and 10% respectively, and each stack also has an independent duration. A pretty good passive talent, but very situational since it'll be less effective with less enemies, and the crit rate increase is also specific only to plunging attacks. The duration is pretty long though, so you'll have some time. Her Ascension 4 passive talent, Consider the Adeptus in her realm, provides some buffs for the party, because whenever Adepto stacks are active, the active character's plunging attack shockwave damage will be increased by 200% of Xianyun's attack, capping at 9,000. Each instance of shockwave damage can only apply to a single opponent, and each character can trigger this effect once every 0.4 seconds. When looking at both passive talents, one mainly promotes multiple targets while the other was single targets, though both do only affect plunging attacks, so it's really leaning in on the plunging only. This passive talent will be pretty good for bossing since Star Waker does start with 8 stacks of Adepto Assistance, which totals to 72,000 extra damage. To get the full 9,000 damage from the shockwave though, you will need Xianyun's attack to be 4,500, which can be pretty challenging to do. Lastly, her exploration talent, Crane Form, increases gliding speed for the party by 15%. This is actually the first exploration talent that increases gliding speed that we have, because normally it's the decreasing stamina consumption one. Speed is always the name of the game, so huge fan of this talent. It really makes Xianyun a master of the skies and retains her identity as Cloud Retainer. Sky laddering onto weapons, her weapon choices are relatively straightforward. Since Xianyun's role is mainly that of a support, you want to focus on weapons that provide attack since her kit scales off of it, energy recharge to maintain her burst for plunging attacks, or any form of buffs for the party. This is why her weapon, Crane's Echoing Call, is so good on her, because it provides everything we just mentioned. Of course, this is a gacha weapon and one that's built specifically for Xianyun, so many might not have it. However, 2 other great options are Oathsworn Eye and Favonius Codex. Oathsworn Eye especially is absolutely insane on her because it has a really high base attack for a 4-star while also providing attack percent as the secondary stat. You'll also be benefiting from the passive and gaining some energy recharge, so both stats that she wants. This is an event weapon, so if players were able to obtain it, it's most likely R5, which doubles the energy recharge. While Favonius Codex doesn't provide any form of attack, its base attack is pretty good and always an incredible weapon for when the party needs energy. Outside of these, any weapon that has a high base attack, provides attack in a secondary stat or a passive, and energy recharge would be viable. For artifacts, there's a couple sets that suit her pretty well. Noblesse overall is just a fantastic artifact set on a support since it provides attack to the party, including Xianyun herself. Ocean Hued Clam and Song of Days Past are sets that provide some healing bonus while offering some damage too. Ocean Hued Clam does damage depending on the amount healed, and Song of Days Past buffs the active character's damage, which is also based on the healing amount. Viridescent Veneer is of course one of the best artifact sets in the game and can generally work on almost any animal user because of the amount of resistances it can shred. For any team comp that can trigger Swirl, having a VV is always going to work wonders. Other than that, you'll generally want to mix and match any of the 2 pieces that provide the 18% attack. You can never go wrong with energy recharge, so the 2-piece emblem will always provide some benefit too. For main stats, attack, 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 and for substats, attack, and a reasonable amount of energy recharge. If there's ever a set specific for plunging attack, then this could be a viable option for characters that might not have any other options, so long as you have Xianyun though. For team comps, we want to build the team around Xianyun's strengths, and that is plunging attacks. Since her elemental burst increases jump height and can enable literally everyone to plunge, she's gonna be pretty flexible and can essentially work with any DPS team, so the list can go on. However, if we narrow down the list, you would still want to make sure that the character has some form of plunging attacks because her passive talents only works for plunges, and currently that is Zhao and the newest 4-star character, Gami. She can also work in any swirl comp because of VV, and let's not forget that her burst heals too, so if you need a healer, she'll fit right in. I would say when it comes to team comps, Xianyun is one of those characters you can really be creative because she can change the team's playstyle and dynamics, so feel free to use her on any mini team and practice different combos and trying to rotate some punching attacks in. Overall, Xianyun offers a very unique mechanic that no character currently does, and on top of that, she's also a healer, buffer, and off-field DPS with her invention, Star Wicker. Granted, these are generally triggered through punching attacks and are very specific, but just having the ability to enable characters to do something they generally can't without the terrain's help is something that's very valuable. There will of course be new characters that focus on punching attacks as well, making her future-proof and a great support for them. Something I think would be insanely busted is a punching character like Zhao but can also swirl with Vivi, because Xianyun would basically do it all for them, which is just crazy. Alrighty guys, hopefully this quick and easy guide to Xianyun has helped in some shape or form, but thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to smash the like and subscribe button. Don't forget also to turn that notification bell so you don't miss on any new release videos. I've been Johnny D. Until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next one.